present, Chairman and members of independent senior government officials, distinguished ladies, the Executive Council meeting this morning will be preceded by ICPC. Subsection 3 and 7 of the independent law practices found the nominees, and they are here before you today, Mr. President. The votes are taken to be done in batches of 4 and 3. The Ankara local government area of Katsina State. Orange to where you take is West African Schools and the announcement Ministry of Health, and after obtaining a administrative jurisdiction over Ibadan, Ilorin, Port Harcourt, Kano, and Abuja divisions between 1996 and 2023. He was also in Nigeria and a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators. One Katsina, Akimi Kankara was first appointed in 2019 before this year. West African School Certificate and Ahmadu University for non-governmental organization. This is what we did from Nambia University of Oka in 2006.
Take a position.
Justice Adam Bello, do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that I will preserve, protect, and defend the laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God. I, Justice Adam Bello, do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that as a member, independent of our practices and other related to this information, I will discharge my duties to the best of my ability, faithfulness, in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the law, and also in the interest of sovereignty, integrity, solidarity, well-being, and prosperity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that I will exercise the authority vested in me as member, independent of our practices and other related to this commission, so as not to impede or prejudice the non-offices of the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, so as not to endanger or denounce the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that I will not allow my personal interest to influence my official conduct or any of the decisions that are made for the best of my ability. Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Nigeria, and in all circumstances, I will do that for all my people and that I will not directly or indirectly communicate with any person, any matter, which shall be brought under my consideration, or shall be found known to me as
solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will serve, protect, and defend the laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God. I, Grace Nkechi Chinda, solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that as a member of Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, I will discharge my duties to the best of my ability, faithfully and in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the law, and always in the interest of the security and integrity, solidarity, well-being, and posterity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That I will exercise the authority vested in me as a member, Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, so as not to impede or prejudice the authority lawfully vested in the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and so as not to of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that I will not allow my personal interests to influence my official conduct and all my official decisions, that I will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that in all circumstances I will do right to all manner, that I will not directly or indirectly communicate or reveal to any person any matter which shall be brought under my consideration or shall become known to me as a member, Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, except as may be required for the due discharge of my duties as member, Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, and that I will devote myself to the service and well-being of the people of Nigeria. So help me God.
We have lost most of our voices at the campaigns. So we'll try to speak to you with the remaining ones that we have. Just joking. Today I presented a TCN memo to council, and the council approved the award of contract for the variation due to price escalation of equipment, material, and construction of 2 by 60 MVA 132 33 kV substations at Nnewi and 2 by 132 kV line bay extension at Onitsha, substations for the Transmission Company of Nigeria. It's a subsisting contract which started since 2006, and it has suffered delay due to so many reasons. Lack of budgetary provision, issues with as you are all aware, issues that affects most of our projects, like way lift and that causes delay, that leads to variation. It has been varied many times. So recently, the TCN, in their quest to complete most of their projects, especially a project like this one, set up a committee and came up with the position as to how much will complete the project, and that led to this memo coming to FEC after passing all the due processes. And the approved amount for the variation is 3.7 million euro plus 1.137 billion naira. And that would escalate the subsisting amount to 5.015 million euro plus 312 I beg your pardon. Okay, from that to 8 billion, the new amount now is 8,741,681 euro, and the million euro plus 1,449 billion naira, inclusive of 7.5% VAT and tax, the prevailing exchange rate, and the completion period of 18 months. And the Council has graciously approved that. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Today I presented a memo to the Federal Executive Council, which was approved. This has to do with the Nigeria Agenda 2050. This is a long-term plan for Nigeria. Like you are aware, sometime December 2021, we launched the medium-term plan 2021 to 2025. This, of course, is a subset of the Nigeria Agenda 2050. One of the things that was approved by FEC is that we are going to have 6 medium-term 5-year plan. We already have the 2021 to 2025, so you have another 5 years just continuously like that, which will be dealing with the various specifics in terms of strategies. So the Agenda 2050 itself is the broad framework of the direction that we want to go. And it looks at the broad macroeconomic and sectorial outlook from 2021 to 2050. We also look at the macroeconomic results, sectorial outlooks, and the associated employment and poverty implications, which we are generated from complementary analytical underpinnings. We benchmark Nigeria amongst other upper middle income countries that have already achieved some level of economic and social development, which Nigeria also desires to have by 2050. And the indicators that were derived from those benchmarking were put or served as input in the dynamic computable general equilibrium model. It's a model that is used for long-term planning. Unlike when we did the medium-term plans, we were using the input-output models, the econometric models. But those are things you use for short or medium term. The 2050 agenda highlights the roadmap for accelerated, sustained, and broad-based growth, and also provides broad frameworks and approaches for reducing unemployment, poverty, inequality, and human deprivation. More specific strategies or programs, interventions, and the important task of implementation will be articulated through 6-number 5-year medium-term plan. Like I said earlier, 2021 to 2025, 2026 to 2030, 2031 to 2035, 2036 to 2040, 2041 to 2045, and 2046 to 2050. The broad objectives are the following: to create a stable and predictable macroeconomic environment by adopting policies that are consistent with raising domestic savings and investment. 2, to establish a solid foundation for a concentric, diversified, private sector-led economy, a more resilient business environment that creates and supports opportunities for Nigerians to realize their potentials. 3, to invest in critical fiscal, financial, digital, and innovation infrastructure. 4, to build a solid framework and heighten capacities to strengthen security and ensure good governance. 5 is to enable a vibrant, educated, and healthy population. 6, effectively address demographic issues. And 7, but certainly not the least, to make Nigeria become an economic hub in Africa and effectively play a leading role in various regional agreements, such as the AU Agenda 2063, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, and then the ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme. Again, this plan was not just developed by the federal government of Nigeria alone. It was done along with the sub-national governments, and there was participation from the 3 main political parties currently at the Senate level, that is PDP, APC, and APGA. And we also carried along the various unions, NLC, TUC, the women folk, the youths were represented, religious bodies, and traditional institutions. And on February 14th, we had an emergency NEC meeting where this was presented to the governors, and they gave their consent for it to be presented to FEC. That is what we just did today, and FEC has graciously approved the plan with some few amendments to be included. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I was standing for the Honorable Minister of Works and Housing, who presented 2 memoranda, both of which were approved. The first is actually was a memorandum for approval for the award of contract for the construction of an access road from the existing Benin-Asaba Expressway to approach Link Road to 2nd Niger Bridge in Delta State. As you are aware, the government is determined to commission the 2nd Niger Bridge before the expiration of this administration. We can tell you that the Niger Bridge itself is substantially, concluded. The road, the contract was awarded today, which work has started even before now, is actually to connect the Asaba Benin end to the 2nd Niger, the new 2nd Niger Bridge. And the contract was awarded, of course, to Julius Berger at a contract sum of 15 billion naira. And it started quite a while. They've started working, but they say that it's only proper that they have a contract. But we can assure you that that will be finished in good time for us to commission the 2nd Niger Bridge. The second memo by the minister is actually for approval for a revised estimated total cost of contract for the dualization of Suleja-Mina Road Phase 1 in Niger State. I'm sure you're all familiar also with this particular road. We noticed some failure on the part of the road, even though the contract itself today is about 84% physically completed. But the reason why we have to ask, why the minister had to ask for a revised estimate, augmentation, is because when the road was constructed, it was not anticipated that to become the major source of transportation for petroleum products. If I'm correct, I think Suleja today has probably the biggest petroleum, petroleum depot in Nigeria, and it's taking its toll on the road, and that is why the contractor came to ask for augmentation, and it was approved. And the contract, which was originally 9 billion, has now been augmented with another 16 billion to a total cost of 26 billion naira. The Honorable Minister of Petroleum Resources also presented a memo which was approved. That memo was to renew the consultancy service between the ministry and the I think it's called one second. It's known as the Nigerian International. Sorry, it's I can't get the name of the. For 1 second, sorry. It is to renew the contract between Mrs. Brevity Anderson Consortium and the Ministry of Petroleum Resources. A few years ago, the most important petroleum conference used to be held in Houston, in the U.S. So the federal government decided that, look, why don't we save foreign exchange and also have such meetings here? And that is when the Nigeria International Energy Summit, started. And from that, we'll be able to save considerable amount of money, especially foreign exchange. We'll also be able to attract foreign exchange. We're able to create more jobs. So the contract, the consultancy was renewed for a further 7 years, today. Finally, there's this memorandum from the Minister of Water Resources, which has to do with the construction of Jatu Dam. Jatu Uzaire in Esako West local government of Edo State. It's a contract of 8 billion to provide potable water and also all year water for farming for the community. The Edo State government has also undertaken to underwrite 25% of this 8 billion. So the money of the sum of 2 billion naira will come from the Edo State government, and the federal government will supplement with 6 billion to be able to provide the people of Jato with all year-round water for farming, and then potable water for everybody in the environment. And then lastly, there's the memo presented on behalf of the National Population Commission, which was actually seeking for some software to allow them conduct census in May this year. I believe because of the reschedulement of the elections, they could not commence the census as scheduled. They sought for council's approval for a contract to procure software for the census at a sum of about 2.8 billion naira. Thank you very much.
Yeah, with the implementation of the 2022 budget, as at December, we were already about 80% in terms of fund releases. We are making further releases this week to the relevant MDAs just for the purposes of payment. Like you know, some of the work are already going on. It's just to meet up with certificates. I cannot say specifically for sure if, just like 2021, where we were able to do 100% capital releases, if we would be able to do so until when we meet on Thursday for another cash management meeting. So we'll see what funds are available and to what extent that we would be able to so do. With the implementation of the plan, you know, for a very long time, we've not had the 5 yearly medium-term plans. And then also with the 2021 to 2025, we had to come up with some implementation mechanisms. One of such is to ensure that the private sector is able to drive, and for them to do so, there are laws that need to change. A team is already meeting on that, and they are about concluding on what laws need to be repealed, what clauses need to change, so that it will be taken to the National Assembly. I am aware that even though the lead legal firm that is appointed has been working, I know that we hadn't given them any resource. But those contracts are now approved, so they will have the necessary resources to continue with their work. The implementation committees have also been set up, which are at 2 levels. One is the National Steering Committee for Implementation, headed by His Excellency the Vice President. We never had any implementation committee in the previous plans that this country has ever had. And the Technical Committee too for implementation, and an implementation unit has also been set up in the budget and planning arm of the ministry. This is just to ensure that as we go into the next set of medium-term plans, we will not just be maintaining our height of flight, but now we are still in the stages of really taking off. But in terms of actual projects, of course, it commenced with the 2022 budget as the very first budget that went with the launching of the 2021 to 2025 National Development Plan.